Hey there, Hofstra fans. Welcome to this week's edition of the WB Mason Coaches Report right here on GoHofstra.com. I'm Mike Sullivan, joined as always by head coach of the Hofstra Pride Wrestling team, Rob Anspach. Coach, how are you today?
Doing fine, you?
Pretty good, Coach. Coming off a 23-19 victory up in Binghamton. What did you see from your team this past weekend?
I think it's been a progression of the guys wrestling better this entire semester. Even matches that we've lost, they've been competing hard and doing a good job. So this was just another step in the right direction. I thought the guys that went out there were looking to score points. We, I think, got bonus points in almost all of our wins, which is nice. So we keep stressing to them, trying to score points. Doesn't matter what the score is. Your job is to always score points because you don't know what's going to happen after you. Someone could get caught and pinned, and you never know what's going to happen in the dual meet. So your job is to score as many points as possible, and I think they went out there and they looked to do that, and quite a few of them accomplished that.
Got victories from Steve at 125, Luke at 141. Maybe the one that really jumps out the stat sheet was Nick Turdick at 165, getting a victory against Binghamton, a player that, when you talked about him, you said he's wrestled well at times, really never put a complete match together. Did you see that from him this weekend?
Yeah, that's what he did this match, which he had not been doing in his other matches. He would have periods of looking really good, and then would have a period of looking really bad, and having some mental lapses in his matches. And this was a match where he stayed strong for 7 minutes, was looking to score points the whole time, working his offense, working his takedowns, did a little bit of riding, which is something we've been working on, talking to him and working with him a lot on, is holding guys down, because he is very good on his feet. And if he could take some guys down, get some riding time, take a guy down again, get some more riding time, before you know it, you have over a minute. It's an extra point for you, and he took advantage of that this weekend.
Steele McGrew replaces Paul Snyder at heavyweight. He put some points up on the board, but he ends up falling. What did you see from him?
Yeah, I think Zeal went out there a little tentative. It's the first dual meet he's wrestled for us ever, and he got taken down twice in the first 30 seconds, and to me that was one of two things: either he was a little nervous or he didn't warm up properly. Well, whichever one it is, we got to get corrected in a hurry. And then he started getting into the match and wrestling and got takedowns, and it was a good match, but it was definitely a match we should have won. I was disappointed in the results of that match, as I am whenever our guys lose, disappointed in that. But I think what Zeal needs to do is he needs to just work on his confidence a little bit. He needs to work on his conditioning and understand that he might be the guy right now, depending on Paul's injury, and he has to step up and win matches, because we need points at that weight class.
You run David Heitman out there at 184. What was the thought process in that decision? Will we see Taras back this weekend, or is Heitman going to be the guy?
The thought process was we didn't have anybody to put out there besides Dave Heitman. We unfortunately, it was a weight class where we've been shuffling guys in and out.
Right.
The entire season, and unfortunately this week they both got hurt. So we asked Dave to step up 2 weight classes and go out there and wrestle the best he could. And I'll tell you what, he did a great job for us. The match was 7-5 going into the third period. It got a little bit away from him in the third period because of I think fatigue. You're wrestling up, you're giving up 20 pounds. That is a hard thing to do at a Division I level. I mean, it's hard to go up 1 weight class, let alone 2. So I thought Dave did a really good job for us, especially on the short notice. I called him Thursday night and said, hey, you're in. Be ready to go. And so my hat's off to Dave. He did a great job going out there. We talked to the team a lot about this situation. It's like, we don't have a lot of guys on the roster. If somebody goes down, you might have to go, and your weight has to be under control, and you got to be in shape, and you need to be able to go out there and perform. And Dave was able to do all 3 of those things. He didn't get the win, but if we would have had to forfeit that weight class, we don't know what would have happened. As far as the match would have came down to the heavyweight match, just based on everything that had happened. And so I mean, Dave really saved a win for us.
In a couple weeks, we'll be talking about CAA's national tournament, but first up this weekend, you'll have the national duels up in Cornell. You'll be matched up with the Big Red, a rematch against Cornell from a couple weeks ago. What can you take away from that first match heading into this weekend?
Well, I think what myself and hopefully the team's looking at is a lot of confidence. I know we didn't win the dual meet, but we won 4 of the first 5 matches. We could have easily won at 125 pounds. We had another win at 174 pounds right within our grasp we just didn't get. So, I mean, we're looking at 6 wins, possible wins. It's just rematches, and we need to perform again, so we should feel pretty good going into the weight class. Where we need to improve is the guys like Nick Turdick and at 184 and 197 pounds, where we got pinned. And you can't do that in dual meets, you know, especially against a team ranked 10th in the country. You got to go out there and you got to go out there to win the match. But if you're not winning the match, you got to limit the amount of bonus points and understand that you're wrestling for the team at this point in time and stay off your back. So I like the matchup. We obviously just wrestled them a couple weeks ago. The guys know they're capable of winning these matches, but we need another good performance. I mean, they're not just going to roll over. Those guys that lost are thinking the same thing. We were just this close. I mean, 133 pounds was overtime. 141 pounds, he's beaten us a couple times. 149 pounds, they're going to have Villalonga back in there. 157 pounds was overtime. So their guys are thinking, hey, you know what, we need to correct those things, and they're going to come in and they're going to look to shut us out, because that should be their mindset, that they can easily swing those matches around. And we just got to be ready to match that intensity and hopefully change 1 or 2 matches that didn't go in our favor and come away with a win.
You brought up that hot start. You also brought up 174 with Jermaine John, especially considering the injury status with Small Snyder. How much of an emphasis are you putting on him to get a victory this time around, assuming the success you'll have at the earlier weight classes?
I mean, we can't sit there and hey, Jermaine, we need you to win this match and put pressure on. I mean, I think every time they go out there, the goal is the same, and that's to get your hand raised. And, you know, that's what we expect. They know that's what we expect of them. So the pressure's not going to be any different going in. But, you know, I would think in the back of his head, he knows the situation the same way with Steve Bonanno's going to know the situation. Starting off at 125 pounds, they're going to look at it and say, hey, if everything plays out the same way, I could be the difference. And Jermaine, I'm assuming, is going to say the same thing. I could be the difference. I got to do whatever I have to make sure my hand gets raised in this match. So whether it's, you know, go out there with a faster start or you know, get a couple extra drills in, a couple extra runs in this week, whatever it is, that's what those guys need to do to get the victory.
You are guaranteed 2 matches this weekend, but finally, Coach, what's the key to victory against Cornell and then moving forward to either face Virginia or Nebraska?
It's always the same thing. It's going out there and trying to dominate the hand fight and getting your shots off. I think we've been doing a much better job of controlling the center and controlling the pace and the action in the matches, and we just need to continue doing that. The guys that have done that have been pretty successful, winning a lot of matches. The guys that have not controlled the action, you know, they're inconsistent and they're up and down, and that's what separates the good wrestlers from the great wrestlers or the average wrestlers. You need to be consistent. You need to wrestle in your positions. It's easy to win a match if you wrestle every second of the match in your position. I mean, that just is basic. That's simple. And that's what we strive to do, and that's what our guys need to do.
The Hofstra Pride Wrestling team will return to the mats Sunday against Cornell at the National Duels. For head coach Rob Anspach, I'm Mike Sullivan. Thanks for tuning in to the WMAC Coaches Report.